What is up, guys? Matthew, Sheena, can you hear me, guys?
Loud and clear over here.
Matthew, what about you, man?
Hey, good morning. I just got my headphones figured out. I couldn't hear a thing. So
Yay.
glad to be here. Thank you, Muha. Everybody, Muha is our marketing expert at L Bank. He handles all sorts of things and manages a massive social following. So definitely give it up for Muha for hosting this space this morning and setting all this up for us. He does it so fast.
Matthew, thank you so much for that. You make me blush, man, here in front of
Ah,
other people. You guys are great team members. And yeah, I mean, I will let you guys handle these things like you do know, and you guys are perfect at this. So thank you so much. I will be here for everyone. Yeah.
thank you, Muha.
Let's just give it a minute or so. I know we've got some speakers tuning in and coming in from all over the world. We've got people in Hong Kong. It's 1 a.m. there. We've got people everywhere. I'm in Mexico.
Man, those are the real OGs. Listening to us at 1 a.m., we must have something interesting to talk about.
We do. There's lots of events coming up that I know everybody's still caught up in the whirlwind from Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville, but it definitely reignited the industry on our side, and we barely had a moment to rest. And now we're going up to the Blockchain Futurist Conference in Toronto, along with ETH Toronto and ETH Women and a whole slew of side events. So I'm really excited to, see people again, but also meet new people, Canadians this time. And we've got some fantastic events to host ourselves. And I want to know what everybody's doing right now, where they're going, where their projects are at. I know there's like a little divide right now between did we go to the Sanford events in New York, or did we go to the Blockchain Futurist Conference in Toronto? And that really is two of the major events, minus there is an ETH Mexico in Merida. That's the North American big ones right there.
I,
So
I know, and they put them all at the same time. Like, unless we can create an AI to make duplicates of ourselves to be at all of these, it'd be great if they could not plan them all on the same day.
they totally make those. I don't know if they're in the budget just yet, but I'm gonna get one as soon as
Well,
I
maybe
can.
Muha can talk to the people he knows, the big guys, and see if we can get some twins. Because imagine the efficiency.
I would say just enjoy it while you can and really, live in this moment because 2025 is going to be way different than 2024. There's so many projects working on, AGI and outsourcing a lot of the things that we love that create community. And that's why I think these spaces are so important so that you can hear our voice, you can meet us, you can connect with us, you can know where you're going. And we also have, the deep insights on the industry as far as how to get into the cool places, where where
The cool
where to
events.
be, who to see. I know we had a fantastic event hosted by Space Blue in Nashville, sponsored by L Bank Labs. And man, that was such an incredible event. If you guys had an opportunity to come out to it, there's this big 44-acre estate called Dark Horse Recording. It's where like Taylor Swift recorded her first record or something. It was a beautiful space, and we had a night to remember. And so
Literally.
yeah, and those are the people that within our reach that we can connect with, and
Yep.
so we do. And so we want to extend our reach and reach more people and bring in more projects onto our radar because just what's on the computer is not necessarily everything that's what's happening, and sometimes not even exactly what's happening at all. So I like to know what's happening and meet people in person and on spaces like these.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that in-person touch is just it's you get to see so much more. You get to vibe with the person's energy. You get to laugh a little bit. It's way different than a quick 30-minute call that you have to intro your project. So it's definitely on a different level.
Well, leading up to that, it looks like we've got quite a few people listening in already, and I see a lot of our speakers. And so let's try this today. when you are, just so we can keep everybody who's speaking today and in a timely fashion and keep everybody on their schedules today. If you are ready to go, use the raise your hand feature on X Spaces and raise your hand. And that way we know you're ready or you want to go next or you're trying to get your time in. I appreciate all of that. And that'll just help us, not call on somebody who's not ready.
Yeah. Agreed. I think, look, this is our third time. I think each episode of our spaces gets smoother and smoother. I wouldn't I wouldn't say better because we've got amazing guests every single time.
Somebody show me
But
how to do that. I want to
I
know what
know.
that was.
I have no idea what I
What
just
was
did.
that?
I don't know.
Ah,
Your
well,
phone's cooler than mine. Mine
Yeah.
doesn't do that.
that was a great background noise there. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I was just trying to give a thumbs up, and it did something extra special.
Oh,
That's
well,
Yeah,
awesome.
that was an extra special thumbs up for us then.
yeah, that's right.
When's the soundboard token for X Spaces come out?
Yeah, here I'll give a clap. Let's see what that does.
Wow.
Round of applause.
And
Yeah,
we haven't even done anything yet. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Okay. So actually I think that was John. John, are you
yep,
on?
yeah, that was me.
Are you ready to tell the world about John and Outlier Ventures? We're ready to hear it. I would love to hear more about what you guys have going on. I know Outlier is such a huge portfolio on Web3, and the breadth of the reach goes very far. Like you can't go very far without, coming across one of the companies in your guys' portfolio. So I'm glad to know you personally and to have you on the space. I feel honored, and I really do want to give you the floor so you can tell us about what you guys are working on and what we can get, how we can get involved with that, current projects, current events and things. I always see you in person, but that's how I know Outliers. So go ahead, tell the world.
That's right. Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks so much, first of all, for hosting and for having me on and having all of us here together. And, to your point about those IRL events, I mean, there is something special about when you get to see somebody who you know in person, and then they want to introduce you to somebody else. You just walk across the room and grab them, and then have a nice little chat that way. It's a lot different from getting in a Telegram chat, right? So, just that resonated on the things you were talking about earlier for me. Um, but anyway, Outlier Ventures, for those who aren't familiar, we've been around since 2014 as an investor in Web3. In 2019, we started running this accelerator program, and I think that makes us one of the oldest and certainly at this point one of the most active, if not the most active accelerator in Web3. We have over 300 portfolio companies. So as you mentioned, they're if you go out and talk to founders, there's a good chance that the ones that have gone on and raised are familiar with or have been through an OV program. So we have our base camp program, which is an accelerator. One of the things that there are a couple things that really differentiate us. I don't want to go into too much detail here, but we have over 70 staff. We have a token design team, we have an engineering team, we have a legal team. We have all these folks who are on staff and kind of really come alongside founders. So I would say, you know, what differentiates us from and our model is that we're not really just writing a check and giving some advice and a lot of accelerators maybe providing a lot of resources in the form of mentorship, but we actually have like resources on staff that kind of come alongside founders for the course of the program and thereafter. um, we also have a token design offering that we just kind of relaunched. So helping founders to really nail down their offering and then go to market with their do their TGE. And so
What
that
about for existing projects? I'm so curious. I mean, I know it's going to be so polished and clean and look, really on brand for Web3. But what about existing projects that are joining your accelerator? Because not necessarily everybody starts from, the beginning, like the idea stage.
Hmm.
So, say there's existing companies joining
Well,
Outliers.
yeah.
What do they do?
I mean, that's really, so I think one thing that's really important to note is a lot of people kind of conflate or confuse an incubator with an accelerator. An incubator, an
Totally. I'm one
incubator,
of those people.
yeah. I think, an incubator is like that idea stage and giving them those resources, giving teams resources to get something off the ground. An accelerator is really once founder, there are a few founders together and they have something and they're looking to raise, or they've started to go out to raise their pre-seed or seed, let's say. An accelerator comes in and really just helps them to do in 12 weeks what it would have taken 12 months to do, or even more.
Mhm.
So there are,
That's a good way to put it. I mean, there's definitely a lot of gray area, even for me, someone who's considered, an expert in the field. There's still a lot of gray area between how do you, as a crypto company, they're very segregated. There's like the degens, right? And like they're not the ones that are knocking on the door asking for the VC dollar. So how that relationship goes, who's the middleman? For me, that seems like outlier. It's like if you're going to take your crypto project and you're going to make it a business that's official, that's going to, go on to raise more money and scale, as they say.
yeah.
That sounds like where Outlier is at.
Exactly. And look, we don't, we're not successful unless the teams coming through our programs are successful. We don't earn anything from, running the program except for a little bit of token and equity from the teams, in exchange for all these services. And so we really are, and we've been focusing a lot in recent months, on bringing even our past, kind of, portfolio companies who've been through programs in the past, making sure that we continue to serve them and help them along. So, um, it really is a matter of just alignment and being a for founders. I really think that Outlier has, we really are, uh, you know, a part of the ethos of just, trying to elevate the ecosystem, trying to help teams to help bring Web3 to the world, and we're thought leaders there too. I might add, we kind of started, just for example, back in 2017, talking about the convergence of AI and crypto, um, and made some really good investments back then. Fetch.ai is one of them,
Super early.
because we kind of saw that whole thing happening, and we're doing more on publishing this kind of research as of late. So, you know, take a look at the things that are coming out. We have a great head of research who's working his tail off to be at the front of all, like, every theme, which seems impossible, but there's a lot going on.
So what about this base camp you're telling me about? When does base camp start?
Yeah, so we actually run three base camps a quarter right now.
Wow, that's a lot.
The ones that, yeah, the one it's the ones that we're recruiting for right now are, one focused on Bitcoin. It'll be our second Bitcoin base camp. We've opened up another application for real world assets, focused base camp, and um, uh,
You mean
we have
like
I should
real
add,
estate?
real world assets. Well, it's the RWA's. It means different. I guess it could mean different things, depending on your perspective. I think we, think of. I think the first thing people think of, or at least maybe recently, has been more kind of institutional assets and taking, providing liquidity and access to, things like, you know, tokenized bonds and
Right.
treasuries, or to whatever it is but it's really kind of changing the ledger, so people giving, creates more access. But I think we'd all like to see more novel use cases, and, like, to your point, real estate is one example of something that has never existed in an efficient way on a digital, like, in the digital space. Or I don't want to say never, but obviously, there's a great reason why Web3 and blockchain could be the home, and could really, be a great use case there, just as an example. And the third program I want to mention for this quarter, um, is our LATAM program, and that's probably the most relevant for this conversation. We opened up an application. We have Morgan Creek Digital as a partner on that one, and we're looking very broadly across use cases in Latin America. I think this will be the first iteration, but we see a lot of definitely we just saw so many great teams coming out of Latin America and so much product market fit for what they're building that we thought it was time to focus on the
I
region,
agree.
and
Come
this is
down to
the first one.
Tulum. Do one
Yeah,
in Tulum. So
yeah,
bullish on the
love
next
that.
hacker house being down here. It's like
Yeah,
gorgeous real estate. We just gotta bring your own Wi-Fi connection, basically.
Yeah.
yeah, amazing. Yeah, well, that's yeah, yeah, exactly. I was there just a couple years ago, and I do remember that it can be spotty sometimes, but
Yeah, those are
it's
my
it's a beautiful
mandated
place.
breaks that I have to take is when the power goes out. It's like,
That's right,
no, it's
man.
raining, the power's out. Go do something else. Web 3 will be there
Exactly.
when I get back. Um,
I feel like everywhere needs that. That should just be a thing everywhere. Where like sometimes the internet just
well,
shuts
don't say
off.
that. That could be crazy. Like,
Not right now though. Not on X spaces.
Right,
like,
right. Not while we're doing
controlled
ours
power
anyway.
grid,
Now we're doing
Right.
our thing.
decentralized
That's right.
power.
After this, they can do
Uh,
whatever they want. But for now, please keep the electricity on.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
relying on
For,
this Wi-Fi at the moment.
uh,
Well, thank you, John. I appreciate
yeah.
all the
So
insights. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the next one, and it's always a pleasure to get to talk with you. And I hope that it was very insightful for our guests as far as Outlier and your boot camps coming up, and the three cohorts. I mean, that sounds like a lot of opportunity, especially in LATAM at the moment, for people to be able to get involved. And
yeah.
hopefully this will reach the audience in Canada, and they'll get to hear a little bit more about that. And this will give segue for people from Futurist and upcoming Toronto events to have access to the largest Web3 accelerator, Outlier.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me. And just only other thing I'll add here is go to our website if you want to apply. If you're a founder, want to just check things out.
Ooh, good plug. Why
Outlier.ventures.io.
don't you drop the link in the comments?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Yeah, and
we'll do.
please
And
be sure to
All right.
follow him as well. That way you can be up to date on any new
Yeah.
Outlier Ventures products or projects that they're working on. I know I've got a couple of friends over there. We love you guys at Outlier, so you guys are doing great things in the space.
Amazing. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Always happy to talk. Send me a DM and I'll drop a link in the chat
thanks,
here.
Amazing.
John. Who?
Thank
Well,
you,
All
I think
right,
man.
I
Sheena,
saw
I'm
I
gonna.
think I saw Voy Network with their hands up. So maybe we can let Voy intro. They've got some really cool things they're doing too for devs. So
Sounds good. Put your hands up, Voy Network. You're up next. Are you out there? Can you hear us?
I can hear you just fine. Thank you so much. You can hear me all right too, right?
yes.
Yes, Crystal.
Amazing. So my name's Chris. I'm one of the co-founders of Voy. I actually met Sheena out at Nashville. Had a great conversation. And I also think it's super important to be in person, have real life conversations. So I really like what you guys are doing. Keep pushing that.
Thank you.
No problem. So a little bit about Voy Network. Voy was actually originally started because we were frustrated about the issues when it comes to distribution among of tokens. Way too much was in the hands of the early investors, early stakeholders, and those early investors and early stakeholders weren't actually adding value to the network. And the true value of blockchain is the actual ecosystem itself, and yet they didn't actually own the majority of the network like they should. So Voy was created as a layer one blockchain that's set out to actually fix the economics to make sure that the ecosystem, which is the builders, as she mentioned, but it's also the rest of the community, the marketers, the shillers, the people that are actually putting value into the network should be the majority owners of the network. So we developed a really elegant and complex governance system to make sure that the people that hold the token are actually in control of the treasury, and then we also made sure that the ecosystem bucket was 75%. We started 2 years ago, about to hit main nets in a couple months here, so yay for us. But we now have on our test net, we have over 4,000 nodes running all over the world, run by our community. We have over 20 projects that are launched, ready for us to be mainnet, so they can hit the ground running. And we have over 15,000 wallets that are active, doing quests and doing everything on our testnet. But like I said, at the end of the day, blockchain is currently broken. The wrong people hold the tokens. You all that are here listening hold a fraction of what you should. And Voi's mission in life is to actually fix the overall paradigm of what blockchain is.
Well, thank you very much for that intro, Chris.
When token. Yeah, I'm bullish. Drop the link in the I love a testnet. Drop the link in the comments so we can check out more about Void. I'm glad Sheena got to meet you because it sounds awesome. I love purple. It's my favorite color.
Yeah,
On a
so do
side
I.
note.
Yeah, we'd love to actually have you in there if you are somebody that likes to roll up your sleeves. Our whole narrative
I
that we're
love a
pushing.
quest. I've done them all. I've done
But
everybody's quest.
we love the idea that we are like the blue collar blockchain. We are the everyman's blockchain. The people that's if you truly actually believe that if you truly believe in blockchain, you truly believe that you can add value, we're the only place for you.
Well, that's awesome. I'm definitely a quester. I've been taking quests for years, and testnets turn out to be pretty awesome, especially testnets that we introduce to the world. They go pretty far. So I would definitely say check out Void Network if they're not on your radar. Put them on your roadmap. Get involved with their testnet early. That's how the lifestyle goes. We were early. John was early in 2017, AI and crypto, and that turned out really well for them. So get in early with the testnets. This is what they look like when they're growing. They're doing it right. They're doing a testnet.
Yep.
I mean, sometimes I don't even do testnet. I'm like, nah, mainnet only. But testnet has its place. Definitely, that's where
I mean,
companies are built.
testnet is where you grow your missionaries, the people that come in, understand it, feel
Ooh.
it, and that's where you grow your base. There's always going to be the mercenaries that pop in and out, but at the end of the day, we're a very active community, of large community that is fed up with the existing state of blockchain and believe that it should be different.
Yes.
That's awesome. Are you guys planning on being in Toronto at all? Is that on your roadmap?
We probably could, if I,
You should. It's the 12th through the Futurist Conference in Toronto slash ETH Toronto slash ETH Women. It's like the 12th through the 14th, unofficially through the 17th, in Toronto. So if I don't know if you can make it. It's pretty soon here, but it seems like it wasn't really on my roadmap in Nashville either. But everybody is going to be there, so will we.
Yep. If you can make
nice.
it, Chris, we'd love to see you.
Yeah, if I'll see what I can make it. I mean, being out mainnet coming at the end of September, early October. Boy, the number of places that we're spending right now talking to the market makers and the exchanges and making sure that all of the staking programs are all in line is a lot of work. So I'll see if I can squeak something in.
I'm
All
pretty
right.
sure we can handle some of that for you. No problem there. So,
Nice.
you know, jump in, take the picture, be in person if you can. That way we can, really pump you in person. We'd love to have you. I think we have an event in Toronto as well,
Yeah,
a VIP
already
one.
talking to Tina, so big fan of L Bank.
Awesome. Very good. Who do we have next? Polycarp. I see you're active there.
Oh, Cobalt.
Polycarp Nakamoto.
Covalt's raised their hand like 5 times. I think they might be
Let's
mad if you don't call on them.
I'm so sorry, Polycarp. We will get to you. I know you're actually in a meeting anyway. Sorry.
All
Who do
right,
we have
Cobalt,
up
you have the
next?
floor.
Hello, hello. This is Glassy from Cobalt, and I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for inviting us up here. It's great to be able to talk about our project, especially to a super well-respected brand. I don't really go like fanboy over like rock stars or whatever, but I do over solid projects, like really great builders and really great brands. I really do feel that, so I really wanted to say thank you. Start off there. Also, I see some familiar faces,
We
some
have
different
we have the
people that
same
we met in
colors.
Nashville.
I
So
see
it
a
really
lot
does start to
of
feel like that community.
there's isn't it? It's a small world out there, and we're just part of it. So it's definitely a lot of people here that we got to meet in person. You know, who do you invite onto the show? You invite people that you get to meet in person. You know what they're gonna say. I like that Cobalt is black and yellow. That makes it really easy for co-branding and marketing and getting you on the space. Is just like a whole nother level. I mean, you guys have upped our KOL today. So for that, we thank you for being our guest, and we're glad to have you. And we definitely want to see you again in Toronto if possible. But tell me more about the Bitcoin layer one framework for intelligent custody, modular framework for intelligent custody. I'm always looking for better ways to manage Bitcoin 100%. But I'll leave it up to the experts to tell us more. I would love to hear more about what you guys are doing. Actually, we talked yesterday. I do recall. You're
Yeah,
telling
you have a little bit
it.
of you get a little bit of the background. So yeah, this intelligent framework, like what is an intelligent custody framework is almost always people's first question. And so I describe it in terms of the primitives of the kind of the key products that we're building. And this all falls within different vaults that have different purposes. The most simple is the multi-sig. And for, I think, a lot of native users, they'll tell you that it's been difficult to find a, great solution for not just a multi-sig, and for people that might not know what that is, a multi-signature, probably most people know, people from the ETH side and Solana side and whatnot, we're used to multi-signatures. That is kind of like having a co-signer on your bank, and where you might not want your co-founder to just draw all the funds out and disappear to the Bahamas. You might set rules that like things over a certain amount, you need to have a co-signer in order for those funds to leave the account. Well, a multi-sig essentially is the way to accomplish that for blockchains. And although there's very robust solutions on EVM chains, not really the case for Bitcoin. There's a few custody solutions like that for Bitcoin itself, but not necessarily any that hold all these wonderful meta assets like ordinals, runes, and so many other meta protocol assets that exist within the Bitcoin ecosystem. So that's the first thing we built is a multi-sig that can store these assets. And then building off of that, starting to get a little bit more complex, our second product is a syndicate vault that essentially operates on a similar principle. But instead of assigning your wallet addresses for the signers, we're able to accomplish this by etching a rune. And I'm falling into lingo, but a rune essentially is like the equivalent of a ERC20, so something of a fungible standard on Bitcoin. We're using these tokens, these rune tokens, as a way to grant rights and privileges over the multi-sig or over more advanced vaults. And then we're going right down the line to build things like airdrop vaults that allow people to pre-buy future rewards or pre-buy future token baskets, as well as be able to do calculations of claims, and moving right down the line into things like non-custodial staking vaults, and opening up these series of primitives that can essentially interact with each other to build even more complex vaults that can do far more advanced things like actually bridge, and tap into yield opportunities across different L2s as well as into other blockchains. And there's a lot more, but I think I'll leave it at that. That's our kind of our core native set of tools. And yeah, as we kind of move deeper into the conversation, maybe I'll have a chance to talk about some of the RWA side of things that we're touching towards.
So if I get this right, it's a vault. It's a multi-sig vault for different applications and Bitcoin based fungible standards or non-fungible standards like runes or ordinals or BRC20s, any Bitcoin token, I guess.
Exactly. Exactly that. And then looking at how do we actually help move these things forward. So if we had to, say, do batch sending, or if we had to look for specific assets in specific places and be able to calculate how long have they been there in order to give someone a reward, like our non-custodial staking, we're seeing a lot of communities have a big need for that, especially to do that in an efficient way or in a way that can do these kind of batch sending and calculations, yeah, both for community rewards as well as ways of actually opening up exposure to whole ecosystems, where like a accelerator, for example, could set up an airdrop vault and then give people an opportunity to buy exposure not just to one project that they're going to launch, but perhaps a small percentage of that season's worth of projects that they would launch.
Oh, wow.
So I'm really into this idea of token economies, and also how do we bridge these kind of token economies. So instead of like every single community is like one token, how do we actually start encouraging token exchanges between communities, or certainly between larger ecosystems?
There's definitely still a lot of bullish action going on with the Bitcoin post Bitcoin 2024. And regardless of what chain your token is on or your project is on, it usually always comes back to Bitcoin. So definitely keep in mind these asset vaults, these hardware companies that are, finding ways for you to own more of what you're building, which I think is really spot on. I mean, you can participate in as many ecosystems as possible, or that strike your interest or appeal to your senses. But when it comes down to it, it's all about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the oldest asset. It's the most secure as far as we know. And if you really are growing in this space and are keeping true to the mantra there, then you'll want to find a way to secure that with a vault, secure your Bitcoin with a vault. So it's very nice to hear about it. I appreciate it, Cobalt. Thank you for coming on today and sharing your insights. And will you be in Toronto? Can we get you to come? Do you want to come?
Possibly. Yeah, after our conversation yesterday, I immediately started looking at tickets. So I'm right on the fence. And yeah, very possibly I'll shoot up there. It's not actually too far. I'm up in the Northeast, so it's
See,
very appealing.
Come
that wasn't
on,
so
Glassy.
hard. I'm glad to hear it. Come on up.
You don't want to suffer from FOMO.
That's the worst. Yeah, there's really no bitterness worse than the bitterness of regret.
Right. No regrets in this life.
Oof. Oof, no regrets. Who else do we have on here today? Sheena, do you have a guest that you would like to introduce?
Sure. Let's bring on Ezo app. They will be joining us, I believe, in Toronto. So people will be able to meet with them there if they are available.
Polycarp, I will see you. You will be up right after Ezo. Thank you for the
Promise.
high five and the thumbs up.
So hi everybody, I'm Charles, the founder of ETH. Thank you, Sheena, for inviting us here. So we're a Canadian company. We're based in Quebec. That's why the accent. So we're French speaking before we speak English. The frog for my Western Canadian friend. So as always for easy operation. So we basically built a super app that cover both crypto and traditional asset together. Our goal is to build just one place where you manage everything in your financial life. As the founder, I got very tired. I've been in crypto and finance forever. I have a big Bitcoin tattoo on my forearm, and I think right now on my phone I have like 12 apps for all my finance stuff. So crypto, investment, payment, money transfer, banking, everything. And everybody here, we all live the same pain. Every time we need to move money from A to B, it's always slow, always a bad experience. It's always hard. The software sucks. The UI sucks, and the crypto on ramp off ramp in Canada are super costly for the peeps, since I can have a bit more Canadian talk today. And so we basically fuse all of these things into one places. We do it both on chain, off chain. So our product is ready for the everyday consumer, but it's also for the businesses. So again, we cover on ramp, off ramp. So fiat to crypto, crypto to crypto, crypto to fiat, and fiat to crypto, of course. We also cover payments. So local and international remittance market. We work exclusively in Canada and Africa at the moment, because we realize that what we develop for the Canadian market, which is basically a super app, well, it's super cool, but there's a lot of people who have only a phone, which at the end of the day that's the goal, manage everything from one place on your phone, that also need this in Africa. Like to give you an example, guys, I just came back from a trip in Africa, and the people in that country, I cannot say the name at the moment, but it's a 20 million people countries, and they're using one big system to move money, and they pay between 10 and 15% fees, which is it's insanity. Like we're Canadian, a lot of Canadian here. Imagine using Interact with 15% fee. Like that would be insane. That would be insane. And there's a huge interest in crypto all over the developing nation. For some reason, these guys, they have not been affected by what we live in 2022 with Luna, UST, or the every 101 crash that we have like Monday that we have here and there. They're super super open. Like we're gonna be, as though it's gonna be the first on ramp frame in two major countries in Africa at the moment. We were for people who are interested on a Canadian market. We're launching the alpha register in about 2 to 3 weeks. We plan to also do a TG technically before the end of the year slash Q1 next year, depending on the regulatory side of things. Also looking at L Bank as a, of course, a potential partner. So I think you guys would be surprised if you try to dig into our system for all the crypto project here. We also have something for you specifically that we've been approached by a lot of crypto company, which like you guys are offering whatever services, and you do have a consumer base, you want to be paid in token. But for a lot of crypto company that want maybe to build traditional clients from Web2, they're saying, hey, my client wants to pay me in credit card, they wants to pay me with fiat, but there's no bridge between my token and fiat. And this is something we offer that we've been approached by a lot of crypto company to do that. So we can bridge, let's say, your liquidity pool with traditional gateway, which is super interesting for a lot of projects. So we're a Canadian company again. We're a team of 19 based in Quebec City. We do have an office in Montreal also. We've been to the Toronto Futurist Conference last year, so we're not going there this year, but we may go to ETH Toronto. It wasn't on the radar, but uh, it may happen next week depending on the stuff. A lot of the guys are on holiday right now, but looking forward to how we can improve the Canadian space in blockchain. Because at the end of the day, for our opinion is that people should be using blockchain without necessarily knowing it. Like they need to click a button, and it happened. Like if we need to have our grandma sign transaction, it's never going to work. If we need people to remember 12 words, it's never going to work. Blockchain has a lot of use case, a lot of very very cool thing you can do with it. It's definitely not the answer for a lot of other things though, which are people are trying to make for some reason. But if we can take out the friction and build something very cool on top of it, like very simple UI, very easy to access. Surprisingly, by the way, even the banks are interested with that. We're in talk with a lot of the big, cannot say the name again, but we're at least two of the big five right now in Canada. And you may be surprised to see our logo in a lot of your thing close to you soon. So again, we offer payment, investment, money transfer for both consumer and businesses, also for banks. So I don't think there's a single bank in that chat right now. And for crypto company, we can be your on-ramp off-ramp for your own token. And by the way, all we do is super, super, super giga regulated. So we don't do stuff without the approval of regulator. That's not how we scale up a business. Like John was talking, if you're building a real business that you aim to scale and really exit in 5 to 6 years, then you definitely need to play by the book, especially when you work with government, with banks, and that's what we're doing. So thank you, Sheena, for inviting us today. I think the Canadian space is quite loaded with crypto people. I think there's a lot of like I was really surprised last year when I went to the Futurist conference. There was a lot more people than I anticipated. A lot of cool project. We got invited by Kraken also. I think there's any, and it was a very cool event. I will recommend anybody to go there at least once in your time. I don't know if this year it's is it hosted at the same place? Like Matthew,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, it's in the
Yeah,
same space.
yeah, cool, cool. It's a very cool. I think it's a beach club if I remember correctly, and it's quite cool. I would definitely go party there one time in my life, and I would recommend everybody to go there. It's not that expensive. Also, it's very easy to get to, and a lot of good connection they make there. And this year we may not be there, but next year we should be presenting over there. So that's it.
Well, thank you so much for
Interesting.
joining us and giving us a short little rundown of what EZO is working on. And you are at least in Canada, so if the FOMO gets too bad, you can just hop on over to Toronto and meet with us all there.
Yeah, yeah. I may come with one of my team member at ETH Toronto Future, so I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. But ETH Toronto should be. It is ETH Toronto at the Futurist, or are they both separate?
It's
Oh,
all they're all similar, like happening simultaneously as kind of like three conferences at once. I guess
Okay,
there's
so I remember last
more
year.
than
Yeah,
one conventions.
yeah,
Most of them are at Rebel Entertainment in
yeah.
Toronto.
Okay, okay, cool. Well, we see. Maybe we see each other this year. If not, next year, 100%.
for
Yeah,
sure, for
definitely. I
sure.
think we have a booth there at Toronto. So if you do come and you get into the conference, we have a booth and you can come see us. We will all be there intermittently, all of us from Bank. And
Amazing.
we also have a VIP side event that's happening. It's on Luma right now. There's
Yeah,
details that I do not know yet, I'm still pending. It's that VIP.
For,
So
funny story actually, and it's totally out of the blue. By the way, one of my team member this morning texted me like it's super heavy rain today in Quebec, and he said, "Look at this parapluie, which is in English the thing for the rain
I
and you
thought you
guys
were
were
gonna tell us you got a L Bank umbrella and it
yeah
saved the
exactly
day.
no I swear to you yeah exactly, and he pulled up I think we got it last year. I guess you guys were there last year. I don't know where we would have gotten that otherwise, and he was with me, and yes, we do have he was wearing the umbrella this morning,
Oh,
definitely.
perfect.
Low key, I
Low key,
that
no
is
joke,
one
eh?
of my favorite parts about L Bank is that they throw the most extravagant events. They'd have the best swag every time. Like there was these chargers from Consensus. People still ask me about these chargers. They're like, "Yo, you have those chargers? Like they were the best chargers ever." And now there's an umbrella saving the day. Very strategic swag on L Bank's part, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
I'd
There
like
were one of my guys is wearing it today in Montreal. So
I'd love a picture of that. That would change my day. I'd be like, look at that. It rains here all the time. I wish I had my L Bank umbrella.
I'll send it to you in your DM. Check it out.
Uh, Amazing. I'm
I'll send
sure
it to
every
you if you want to see it.
I'm
I'll just
sure
send
the
it to you.
higher ups will be very happy about that. You sure did. No kidding.
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Wow, that's a good umbrella.
Mm,
Solid. Well, thank you for coming on. I look forward to hopefully seeing you in Toronto. If not, we'll definitely stay in touch as we scale. And I'm interested to see what banks you pop up on. I'm rooting for you.
yeah,
Um,
sooner than you think. I
I'd
can't say
like
too
to
much again.
introduce.
I can't say too much about that right now though. But yeah,
I understand. We'll stay tuned, everybody. Drop a link in the messages for the host or for this event specifically, and that way everybody can click the right links. Because I looked up Glasshouse Ventures yesterday. Like it's glasshouse.io, not glasshouse.ventures, right? So ventures.studio. It was like there's always you got to be careful. There's all sorts. Make sure you go to the source, find the look at the docs, find the right answer before you go clicking on things.
you said
um
you wanted to introduce us to something. I think.
Polycarp Nakamoto, I got to meet Web 5. This is the first time I heard it. I'm not kidding. I was like, man, we're moving fast. I was
We're
like, I
fine.
haven't even it's like I'm like Web 2.5
Yeah,
and they're
same
already
for us.
coming out with Web 5 and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
that's how we
man.
see yourself with 2.5.
And what are the kids going to be doing next year is like, yeah, this is the web station 64 and I'm like, oh man, I got to learn how to play. But Polycarp introduce us to Web 5. I know you guys are building some hardware that is just incredible stuff. I mean, think these are the innovative hardware that, the industry needs. And there's all sorts of, useful applications on things like Adrenos and Raspberry Pis and all of these, small computers. But now you can host nodes, you can do all sorts of things. And so I'd love to hear about what you guys are working on. And hopefully you guys are coming up to Toronto as well, I believe.
Yeah, we've got one of our guys will be there representing us and representing Web5. And thank you to the hosts and the co-hosts for bringing me on to the stage today. And I'm excited to tell you all a little bit about Web5. Essentially, the idea is that Bitcoin needs its own internet. And the reason I say that is because if we look at CrowdStrike, if we look at AT&T, Spectrum Internet, all of the outages that took place this year, the internet itself is very, very centralized. And so the Achilles heel of Bitcoin is actually internet service providers. And so what we do is we build the internet of Bitcoin. It's literally Bitcoin nodes connected peer to peer over DPIN, decentralized personal infrastructure that you own, and you get to connect to whichever nodes you trust. And through this method, we can rebuild the web where security, privacy, and decentralization is built into. I'm not the one that came up with Web 5. It's actually Jack Dorsey's term. He came up with it in 2022. And when I first heard about Web 5, I thought it was a joke. And I ignored it about a year. And once I understood what Web 5 was, I couldn't look at the internet the same way again.
Mhm.
And so, as you said, we have hardware We're building software as well. Everything that exists in Web 2 and Web 3 needs to be rebuilt to be able to run on top of 5. Web 5 really is a whole new ocean of the internet with very few people fishing in that, one of the first, and we want to bring tension to this new internet, and we want to build bridges to the Web 2 and Web 3 use cases that we have today.
It's definitely one of those things that shook me, hearing about it and just comprehending what it is you're talking about. And it's like I keep, get one layer deeper, learn more things, get one. It's like all about infrastructure, and then like I've even hosted LoRaWAN nodes for Helium, and Bobcat 5G miners, you name it. But this was a whole nother layer, and like it's the type of thing that does not exist. It's the type of thing you have to build yourself. Like something like the hardware you guys are building. It's like, yeah, you really do have to assemble it yourself. Like there's no like available big market for, custom hardware. I mean, sure there are. There's a lot of independent software companies that will build your custom hardware. But for this application, like hosting the internet, it makes so much sense. Like,
What's really amazing is you can use hardware that's 10 years
right.
old. And so we actually have everything we need to build this new internet together. And what we're missing is the incentivization. And so here it is. Your data is valuable. And right now, all of us are getting robbed. Every time we sign a user agreement with Google, Apple, Microsoft, or even X.com, they get all of our
The
data
truth.
and we don't get anything for it, right? And in this new internet, Web 5, your data is gold. And that's why you want to be using a stack of open source software on your phone, your laptop, your Bitcoin node, and even your internet router needs to be an open source router. And if you achieve that, you then have a closed loop system where all of your data can be monetized on Bitcoin, the internet. You can actually package, edit, and then sell your data. So, yeah.
That's so true. I mean, really true. So true. Tesla is not a car company, it's a data company. Netflix is not a movie company, it's a data company. So that I definitely would call you a maxi, but I would definitely say, you're not wrong. The more of your infrastructure that you own, the less of the data that you have is leaked, or that you create, especially if it's, the most valuable thing that you own is your first party data. And so that goes back to the roots of why we really all care about this in the first place. And that's, that we want to own our future. We want to have the access to, monetize our own data in some way. And a lot of that is done through your own infrastructure.
Yep.
Polycarp, what do you guys have as far as this? I was so interested in Asheville, and I still want to know what kind of things are you building? Like tangible things, like say people could build themselves.
Yeah, so it all starts with your Bitcoin node, and you can use any hardware for that. For phones, we recommend graphene Pixel phones, and you can put the software on it yourself. And we actually have 9 products that replace every data point that big tech has on you. So we have a smart home AI that manages your smart home, and it stays on even if the internet goes off. And all of the data from you coming home, turning on your lights, you going to bed, all of that data stays on your Bitcoin node in your home. So no one else has that data. And we also have a laptop, cell phone, router, Bitcoin server package. And we also have peer to peer communication devices that are off grid. They don't use satellite, they don't use cell service, they don't use internet. They communicate directly from your phone to your friend's phone up to about 25 miles, and it's a mesh network. So theoretically, it could go on forever. The fastest or the furthest that I've sent a signal is from Austin to Houston.
Hey,
Well,
Polycarp, let's sorry to interrupt, but let's chat after this about
wow.
that. Yeah, I have something to dig with you about that. It's very cool, by the way.
Check.
See, that's why these spaces are done, so that these people can meet each other, see these amazing things that everybody's working on.
I know what
Definitely
I'm
a lot of room
doing.
for collaborations.
I know I'm just a simple boy from Michigan, but I know what I'm doing.
So on that, if we can pivot to Stable, they've got some really cool things they're getting ready to launch too. So if you guys want to take the floor, Stable, feel free.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having us. I'm Ryan from Stable Finance. That's Stabull. Yeah, thank you, Sheena, for having us. Stable is a DEX optimized for FX stablecoins and RWAs. Basically, on the premise that currently there is no core piece of infrastructure dedicated to serving non-USD stablecoins specifically, and Stable hopes to solve that. Technically, what our innovation is against like Uniswap or Curve or other generalized AMMs is that Stable is a proactive AMM. It dynamically recenters liquidity around an off-chain FX oracle or an off-chain commodities oracle. This is like recognizing that at least at present, most of the price discovery for stablecoins and RWAs because off-chain in FX markets, for example. So by injecting an off-chain oracle, our AMM can offer basically price improvement over other AMMs, low slippage around the pegged asset. Also improving capital efficiency for LPs, liquidity providers, as it doesn't leak as much arbitrage profit when prices move off chain, and also helps for issuers to keep assets pegged. So yeah, we're our kind of market we're hoping to access is that 40% of global trade and FX trade is non-USD denominated, but on-chain, as a lot of you probably know, that's largely dominated by USD stablecoins, and we think that's going to change. For example, in the recent weeks, when crypto markets go down, the price of Bitcoin goes down, and investors move to a safe haven asset like USDT or other USD stablecoins, that USD isn't always the safest place to go. In fact, over the last few weeks, like diversifying into a Euro stablecoin or a Japanese yen stablecoin or even tokenized gold would have been like a lot better place to land. We're also hoping to hit the like big wave of Web3 apps offering products like remittance and P2P and crypto cards, payroll, point of sale. Eventually, a lot of those are targeted towards US customers or US denominated products at the moment, but eventually those are going to need access to efficient and low slippage FX swap facilities to access like a bigger customer segment. So yeah, we're just hoping that with the growth of the RWA space and the non-USD stablecoin space, that Stable can be the like central liquidity source for these assets. Yeah, that's pretty much us.
Well, thank you so much for giving us a quick intro to Stable. All of our listeners out there, if you guys are interested in learning more about Stable, please make sure to follow them. And you can put a link to your socials or website in the chat for the X Space if you would like, so that everybody knows where to find you guys.
Yeah, we're currently deployed on Ethereum and Polygon with multiple pools. So if anyone has stable coins they want to swap or provide liquidity to, we've just launched a liquidity mining program. So to get early access to our stable token before our TGE in September, that's the place to do it. But yeah, thanks again for having us. And also, if you're an issuer, a neobank, or anyone that could benefit from efficient permissionless FX swaps on chain, then please get in touch.
Fabulous. Thank you.
I've got two more speakers here today, Sheena, that I've got to get the stage. We've
Do
got Audio
Flamingo.
Pump, and then Do Flamingo has their. Let Flamingo.
Yeah, he's had his hand up so patiently all this time.
Okay, Do Flamingo, are you there? Are you out there?
How you doing?
Hello, hello, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Yes, I am Doflamingo, or as others know me as Apollo, president of Blunt Dow. And my
I didn't
team.
know that was you, Apollo. I'm so sorry. I didn't recognize your Twitter space. I thought it was the other picture. My bad.
No,
Yeah,
that's
see,
me.
I was like, I
I
don't
didn't
know
recognize
Doflamingo. I was
either.
like, who's that? I was
No,
like,
I just have the same picture on Telegram and
I didn't
Twitter.
know. I would have picked on you way sooner. How are you, man?
No,
Wow, my
no,
bad.
you're good. You're good. Um, I'm just learning a lot being on the space, so no problem at all. Being able to soak up knowledge from people who are experts in their particular fields.
Are you coming to Toronto? Are you coming up to join us in Toronto?
Probably not. We actually just had chats with ETH Mexico.
You
Um,
did, Karen, all them, Karen.
yeah,
Yeah,
one of our Blunt Down OGs is actually has a couple of side events that they want us to be at.
bet. You know
So
who
we're gathered.
started? You know who started East Mexico?
I don't.
Low key, it was me. I went down to Merida, and I went to like the little meetup that they had, and I was like, "You guys need to do a convention. You need to bring the conventions down here." So I, went to this was before consensus, and that's why I was like, go look at my Twitter. There's an early tweet from a couple months ago. I was like, "Here's some alpha. East Mexico is going to be in Merida." Like, and there's no East Mexico. I was like, now there is. Yes, it absolutely is. Put them on
That's
map.
amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, no, there's a lot of good folks down there, and trying to do
I
some.
love it. No, it's a beautiful place. You definitely have to come. And like they're like these huge colonial houses, that are like old estates. Basically, it's Merida's a beautiful place.
Yeah, I love that um part of Mexico. I've been there a couple times.
Really,
Just
I'm in Tulum right now.
okay, yeah, yeah. Actually, one of our hacker houses just ended in Tulum a couple weeks ago for a blunt down. One of our
That's
members owns a house down there.
crazy. I did a
See, there went your debut hacker house in Tulum. Looks like
that's where
Apollo already got you to it.
that's fine. Come back. Let's do it again. I'm here right now. I'm gonna come back after Toronto. There's an airport in Toronto or in Tulum. You can fly directly to Tulum now. Usually you have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
fly to
you can.
Cancun and go down. Now you can fly right into Tulum.
Yeah, they just finished building it. My parents were excited because they
Oh,
go
it's
to
it's
Playa del Carmen
perfect.
every year.
It's not exactly in Tulum, like it's still out there a ways. It's still 45 minutes, but it's closer than Cancun for sure.
For sure. But yeah, we have a couple of events that we're planning out with them, kind of finalizing details out with them, basically springboarding ourselves up for DevCon in Thailand. We're having the Blunt Olympics, and
In Thailand.
right now I'm in
Ooh.
New York. People don't know that Thailand has like dispensaries and like legal weed, and so that's what we're kind of trying to taking advantage of in like the cannabis industry. And right now I'm in New York, focusing on a D-side project slash sci project where we're working with the health and fitness part of our DAO, where everyone's talking about self custody of data. We have what's called proof of sesh whenever you smoke a blunt or whatever it is that you smoke or ingest or via edible, whatever that may be, you're able to do some tracking around your anxiety, sleep, and hunger levels. And then we're building a profile around that to build one, you can be informed around that, but overall, is like we talked about, your data is valuable, and being able to sell it to researchers or other third-party grants out there that are trying to buy your data. And so working around that right now, and then of course community building.
Blockchain and healthcare and health data. That's so smart. Blunt DAO is like one of the gateways for Web3, really. You guys have been, in the space for so long and just always churning out amazing projects, projects that hit. There's so much community around Blunt DAO. And really is, one of those communities that show up and are part of Web3 and are always there. So become something that you can, be a part of, that will always be there. It's not a fly-by project by any means. Blundell is across multiple chains. They launch projects on so many, like, are really doing a polished job and catering to an entire industry that that speaks to a lot of degens. So I'm glad to have you on, and definitely have to recognize your. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to get to know, have got to know you, and just to follow you online is like you're a total wizard. So it's just I'm glad to have you on the space, and definitely I'll be at ETH Mexico, and I'm glad to know you guys are coming down too, and I'm hoping I can pull you guys up to ETH Toronto as well. I mean, come on up. It wasn't on my map in Nashville at all, but it is now. So you guys should definitely come on up to Toronto. I know Toronto's a great place for Blundell for sure.
Definitely, I'll definitely now that I've mentioned it, I've heard it a couple of times, and I'll give it some consideration um, and try to head out there.
All right, that sounds like a yes to me. Thank you for coming onto the space and giving
Thank
us
you
your
for
time.
joining us, little homie.
Thank you for having us.
And next up, we've got Audio Pump. Are you there? I know it's a new
Yes,
account.
yes, I'm here. Yeah, I couldn't get into our business account today, so I'm representing DCube, which is a decentralized AI computing network. And I've had a bizarre career path how I got into tech, but I started out when I was 10 years old working on film sets and starring in McDonald's commercials, and then I was a professional musician for 20 years here in Nashville, as a touring musician. And during that time, I was always a closet coder, and I saw a gap in the market with music and advertising, which I can't really get too deep into, but I was starting to code that app about 2018, had a bunch of investors lined up, and then of course 2020 happened, and everyone stopped touring. Well, anyway, that's
Yeah,
kind of when I,
totally. I
yeah.
know Theory One Productions, they do like, Drake and Madonna and like are the really the crew that's out there touring. And they even started a foundation. It's one of one of my company's early partners, but basically like for the crew. There was no communications for them, there was
Oh,
no
it's terrible.
connections, for people who live on the road. And that was, I definitely recall. And so I know you're filling a much needed gap in the industry,
Yeah.
working on the cube.
Yeah, so I was about to go on 3 world tours on 2020, and then they all got canceled. But as most things in life, one door closes, another one opens, and so then I was like, well, this is the perfect time to pursue more of my tech projects. And so my co-founder Andrew, who was trying to join the call, but he just landed in LA to we have a meeting with someone in LA, and anyway, him and I
Oh, that's right.
we
You told me that.
yeah, we started working together at Nervos Network, and then we ended up about 6 months ago starting DCube for a number of reasons. But I kind of bring more of an artist perspective to things, and just like how music has been democratized by the advancements in home recording equipment. I mean, you can produce amazing music at home because you have access to the same tools that anyone in a major studio would have access to. And so
Hmm.
I kind of brought that same idea, Andrew and I, to AI. I mean, the entry level for AI is just so high. I mean, the computing power you need, the access to the chips you need. Well, one of the things that hadn't been tapped into is, there's like over 500 million GPUs available for AI training. We just needed to create a network for people to connect to it. So if you go to our site, dcube.ai, I posted our Twitter in there, or our official Twitter account.
Mm.
You can immediately connect to the network and start lending your GPU power to the network, and then people can train their LLMs on our network, and it's infinitely scalable. And we you can run multiple nodes at the same time. So it's basically parallel computing on tasks. We have some brilliant engineers working for us, much more brilliant than I am at engineering. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the basic.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm speaking pretty fast, but that's kind of the
No,
basis of
that's
it.
awesome. I'm just kind of stunned. Like, so what's the difference between you guys and like LimeWire? I mean, LimeWire is a tokenized system. It's they're doing AI generation and image generation and but you guys are using it more like infrastructure wise to train AI.
Yeah, and so we're tokenizing, your GPU power so that you get rewarded for lending it out essentially.
Everybody
Um,
wants to know when token.
that's still coming. So
Super alpha.
yeah,
I'm bullish on the cube. I mean, you guys have grown super fast, and you're tapping into a really relevant market. And I think people have seen, the tokenized streaming apps with like Audius and decentralized Spotify type of thing. But then to
yeah.
have, now they're getting into we want to create our own beats with AI and the licensing of that. But if you can, train an AI and tokenize an AI, I mean, that's really smart. You're right. It's like in blockchain, the decentralization of cloud services is huge.
Well,
Um,
and also stemming from kind of my experience in the music industry with songwriting and whatnot too, we want to make it so that when people are training their LLM on our system, like if their product starts getting utilized by a bunch of other companies or whatnot, basically we want them to be able to have royalties off their LLMs too, kind of like a songs. Um,
Definitely, I want to live in
so
that world.
yeah.
Uh,
And you can start earning points on our site if you download the app, and then we're going to
oh
have
wow,
an upcoming airdrop. So like basically lending out your
what?
GPU now that
Where's
sets
that
you up for the
applause
airdrop.
button? That's what I should be hitting that. I need a full applause right now. That's so cool. Mine doesn't make the sound, but wow, I love an airdrop.
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty cool. I mean, we're pretty pumped about it. And then and on a side note too, I actually did drop a song today called Bitcoin. So
Drop it
check
in the
that out.
chat, and I
I
want to see
will.
that McDonald's
Hey,
commercial too.
congratulations.
Yeah, pretty pumped about it.
I need McDonald's
Yes.
commercial. I need the new song, and I
Oh man,
need
I'll
to
have to
know
find the McDonald's commercial. That was like probably in the 80s.
before
Maybe
YouTube,
we could,
right?
I'll have to
we need
find
to
that
do
one.
a compilation of start to now so that we can show it whenever, you get real big and famous. We can be like, hey,
Right.
remember us?
We need the
Yeah,
playback. We need the montage video of you
So
totally.
just
make
like
sure you check out the new song he just dropped today. It is fabulous.
a little
Thank
bit
you.
of
I have heard
music
it.
and airdrop, training your LLMs, amazing things. Thanks for hopping on here, Klaus. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well,
I know
thanks for having me. There's so many
we've
brilliant
got
people on here today. Thank you.
one more guest who's super brilliant, and I'm Sean GPT. Are you there? I got to meet Sean in Nashville, and he's just hyper connected guy, knows everybody, gets into every room. I heard he was at the Trump roundtable. Sean, are you out there? Can you join us and introduce yourself and tell us where you are? And I know you're at the Stanford events in New York. No, no, we're still on mute. That's okay. Sheena, do you have any more guests today? We'll move right along. Ooh.
No, I do not. No more guests for me.
Hmm. I didn't hear any of that. I think we're crashing. Well, if that's all it for today, I want to make sure we got through all of our speakers. If you were supposed to step up on stage today, make sure you raise your hand and we'll give you just another moment to hop on if you're out there. That way, um, we make sure we have some stage time for you. But if other than that, make sure you guys come. Oh, we got Voy Network wants to hop in. What's up, Voy?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you before actually I jump off and just remind everybody because we talked early. If you want to be part of the Void Network and get your incentivized testnet airdrops, we dropped the link in the replies here for this this event. So thank you so much for everything, and look forward to seeing you at the next event.
Hey, thank you so much. We're glad to have you guys. Thanks to all of our guests for coming on and joining us today. We really appreciate your insights and your alpha about what's happening here in the industry. Again, my name is Matthew, American Monks on Twitter. Feel free to give us a follow, please do, and reach us in the DMs if you want to talk about L Bank. We're always here. We have, one of the strongest exchanges out there in the market right now, and we're active in the industry, super active all over the globe. So come to us with your projects about centralized listings. We're here for you. You can reach us in the DMs. You can reach us on Twitter, on Telegram at Purple Squirrel Media. And thank you to my co-host Sheena